Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to my thoughts on Dark Sector for the Xbox 360. It is, well, long overdue, obviously. Alright, so, Dark Sector. I've actually have a huge history with this game. I'm basically, when the 360 was first announced, they showed a couple of trailers that I thought looked amazing. Dark Sector being one of them, Alan Wake being another, a couple others, like Full Auto, and a couple others that just didn't do really well. So when Dark Sector finally came out and they announced that they weren't going with the original art style and the whole concept, like in the trailer you're basically like a bounty hunter or something, and you're like sneaking into this spaceship, and it's so interesting looking and it's so badass. But they ended up dropping that idea, going over to I don't know, I guess more of a Gears of War Resident Evil 4 style. Pretty much it's third person over the shoulder camera view. You walk around while shooting guys and basically just beating chapters. But alright, so I guess I'll start with the story. I'm kind of messing around here. Alright, so you play this agent. They don't specify what agency you work for, but you basically work for the US government. Your name is Hayden Tano, and you're basically sent to this like Russian abandoned city or something, and your mission is to go kill this like bioterrorist. They don't really go into too much detail on who you are before you go here, but pretty much, I think the government's blackmailing you or something. You end up going here to kill this guy. He ends up capturing you, and then he, basically, this virus that he's going to be using in his terrorist acts, you get infected by it. And pretty much at this point, you know what it does. It pretty much turns you into like a monster. It mutilates your body and it messes you up big time. So you end up getting captured by the bad guy. He infects you, and then when you blow up the building, pretty much he thinks that you're dead or something, and you get away safely, but you're infected still. So pretty much your arm like grows into this crazy metal, like metallic arm, and your skin starts hardening, and you can produce this little blade called a glaive or something. It's basically a chakram or a boomerang. You basically throw it, it'll come back to you. So basically you become a superhuman essentially, and your whole goal is to go find this terrorist and eliminate him. And along the way you'll meet a couple characters. You meet another agent who was set up by the government. You meet this Russian guy who's like he's still allies with them, but he's supposed to be setting you up, and you meet a couple other characters. But that's definitely the weakest part of the game, is the characters. A lot of them don't really develop at all. They just, I don't know, they feel empty pretty much. I mean, it's a short game, it's only 10 hours, but they could have at least done a little bit more with the characters. Like maybe give us a couple more cutscenes, a little reason why him and this female character know each other or something. It gets a little boring with the characters, but the concept's interesting, and yeah, that's about it. I will approve of story though, just because it is interesting. And yeah. So going over to gameplay. So gameplay. All right, this is a pretty good one. This is probably the best part of the game. It is a third-person shooter, like I said. It's similar to Gao and Resident Evil. One interesting thing though is there's no HUD in this game at all. Like when you do reload your gun, a bullet counter will pop up, but that's about it for the entire HUD on the screen. And I think it's really awesome looking. I mean, it's a pretty dark game. You don't really go into too many color areas and stuff, but it's pretty cool not having a HUD. As I mentioned before, you have this bladed weapon called the glaive, and it's a really interesting gameplay mechanic. You pretty much aim like you normally would. You press right bumper and you'll throw out your blade. And what's really cool is every level you actually upgrade it. You obtain a new power, which is very interesting because a lot of games they'll give you maybe a couple abilities in the beginning of the game and then you're good to go. But this game, they keep the upgrades rolling throughout the entire game. You know, first off, you'll be getting like power throw, which will basically do quadruple damage, which pretty much instant kills every human enemy you fight, most of the zombies you fight, stuff like that. But then you start getting these elemental attacks where like you can throw it into like fire. You'll have a fire blade. You can throw it into ice. You can freeze enemies with it, and it's ice blade. You can get electric blade. you can remotely control it, like it goes into like a first-person type view, and you can like aim it perfectly around corners and stuff. Very cool. And yeah, I don't know. I feel like the upgrading is really good with the glaive. You're seriously getting a new ability like every level, every other level, till the very last level actually. There is a weapon upgrading system similar to Resident Evil, except for this time around, you don't go to the store to upgrade. What you do is you pick up upgrades from the game world. Go to the upgrade store, and then you can basically equip those onto your weapons with no cost. There's also at the black market where you do this, you can also buy weapons and stuff like that, ammo. I didn't really have to use the black market that often. I was going for an achievement where you have a certain amount of money and you collect every single upgrade. I didn't want to risk it, so I only upgraded it a couple times. I only bought a couple things, but it was interesting. Nothing crazy, but I think I do prefer the Resident Evil where you have like level 1 through 5 upgrades. I like that system just because it's very simplistic, and it gives you a noticeable difference every time you put into it. What else? Oh, this game is extremely fast. There's barely any loading in it. When it is loading, it takes like 1 to 3 seconds. Very small loading times. Another interesting thing that a lot of games don't. I've never seen a game try this before, besides Resident Evil. Weapons are ID'd in this game, so you can't pick up a weapon because it belongs to somebody else. However, what they do is they allow you to use the weapon for like 20 seconds, and then it'll explode because you have the virus in your body. It adds a little bit of a strategy. So like, let's say you use your glaive to throw it out there, grab an assault rifle, bring it back to you. You get off a whole clip, then it explodes. It's interesting because I wasn't really into the assault rifles or shotguns, but if you're having trouble, you can just bring in a shotgun and start plowing down guys. It's pretty cool. Oh, you can also shoot while walking. I don't even know why I mentioned that, but it's better than Resident Evil. And finally, I guess I'll mention the online. I did get a couple like hour out of this. There's basically 2 modes: Epidemic and Infection. Which Infection, if you guys have ever played Zombie in Halo or Juggernaut or anything like that, it's very similar to that. Pretty much. Okay, one character plays exactly like the single player character. He can go invisible, he has his glaive, he can shoot his pistol, he can throw it, he can control it. He gets all of the features from the single player. So every other player is tasked with killing this guy. And it's quite frightening actually, because you never really know where this guy's going to be coming from. He could be invisible just waiting for you. He could snipe you out from like over a building with his blade. He can do so much stuff like that you can't do. And when you do kill the infected, you actually become the infected, and it's so fun. I can't even say, like, I was just sitting in corners waiting for people. I would like stealth kill them, then their partners would be like, what the hell happened, where'd he go? They would like turn around, I'm invisible again, I'm like walking past them, they don't notice me. It's really fun. As for Epidemic, it's just basically everybody is the infected, which I didn't really like it. It was okay, but I preferred Infection. I think that'll end gameplay, guys. It's fairly standard stuff, and it's probably the best part of this game. So I will approve of gameplay. Sound, average voice acting, average music, average sound effects, average sound. I don't really have any notable likes or dislikes aside from the online being pretty fun. That's it. Overview time. Dark Sector. It's a good game. I enjoyed the 10 hours that I played it. I will say that for a game that came out in 2008, it's interesting. Like, I don't know. It's interesting stuff, but I really wish it could have been a little bit longer. Could have had a little bit more character development. It was okay. It was an okay game, but you can't really expect much for the $5 I spent on it. So, in the end, I'm gonna say buy this game. Really, if you like action games or shooters at all, pick this game up. It's cheap, it's fun, you'll probably enjoy it.